Hello and welcome to this video. In this instructional video, I wanted to go over a few things that some people who, on viewing my first video along this line, which was Create Your Reality, some things that they might have to deal with that make it very difficult for them to make use of the information. I guess I want to open with, somebody once said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I want you to remember that statement as you go through your day. You go to your job, you go home, you go through your daily routine. I want you to think about, what is it that you expect of your life? What is it that you are hoping to accomplish as you continue in this routine? Where do you think you're going? What is it that you are doing with your life? What is your plan? What is your expected result? Think about that for a little bit. I'm still learning a lot of this. Probably a better way to put it is, I am manifesting the knowledge. I was at a place where I would say simply that I don't know. And I'm seeing now that that is creating a reality for myself where I don't know. And it's better to say that I am manifesting the knowledge. So I am come to a place where I am now manifesting the knowledge I need when needed. And some of the things that I have learned from people that I have read, from Wayne Dyer, Gregg Braden, and bunch of other authors, bunch of videos and movies that I watch. I just got through watching Heal Your Life, a video called Heal Your Life with Louise Hay. And I'm putting the pieces together and figuring things out on how it fits in my life and how to make use of this information. But the gist of it is, as I said in the original video, your thoughts create your reality. But what does that actually mean? What do I mean when I say that? And the best way to demonstrate this, I think, to make this example more relevant so you understand where I'm coming from and how this maybe works, is to go with a personal example. And this is apt, I think, here on my birthday, means it's the 11th here in 2012. And I have a number of things in my life that I have to deal with. One of them is a running gag with my brother and my father, who do love me, I know they do, that I'm going to be a 40-year-old virgin. You know, if I could get away with hating, I would hate the people that came up with that stupid movie, because it makes people like me feel like we're failures if we're not out and having a family by the time we leave college, by the time we're in our 20s. And we're a failure if we don't go to college, much less if we don't go to high school. And yet over and over again we hear from people who did not go to high school, or did not graduate, or did not go to college, or did not have an education. And how many of these people out there who marry so young, how many of them actually stay together? I mean, I know my mom and dad did, and I'm glad that they did. I am blessed in many ways with a supportive, loving family, but how many times do we rush into things because society tells us this is what we should do, and then we find out that we didn't really love this person, or this wasn't the right person for us? Is marriage even a good idea? Let's think about that for a minute. I mean, I don't want to criticize the institution of marriage. My parents have been together for 30, 40 years now, and I think that that's an excellent thing. But what do we do when we commit with a ring and everything in marriage? What is that actually doing there? I had some other thoughts about this, and came to a conclusion on that later, but I won't go into this part of it now. But the idea here is to question. There's a lot of stuff here to question. But going back to, we'll use me as a personal example. When I was 12, I believe that was the year that it happened, my mom saved me. And I put quotes around it when I write this down. And I became a Christian. This was my parents' religion. My mom is a Christian. My dad is a Christian. My grandfather on my dad's side is a Christian who founded churches here. And my grandmother is a Christian. So I inherited, I guess you could say, this religion, their religion. And through my teenage formative years, I was out there and I was, quote unquote, saving children, working for Child Evangelism Fellowship, CEF. But I don't believe this is a good thing for me. I've come to the conclusion that as a teenager, I should have been out among other teenagers and socially developing myself. As a result of the person that I am, and just the way that I'm not creating a reality for myself by this statement, it's just the way that I'm kind of, how do I put this without sounding negative or anything, but just my tendency. I guess I'm a very, very, what do they call it, a person with a healthy libido or something? I don't know, but anyway, being this kind of an active person and being around children developed some very unhealthy things in my nature that I had to deal with. And thank goodness I never acted on any of those things, but that was one of the issues I had to deal with. Another issue I had to deal with was I had exhibitionist tendencies, and I was out, we'll say I was out having personal time a lot as a child. And my parents, as well-meaning as they are, I mean, they use their Christian beliefs and their religion. And one time my brother caught me, and they actually called the elders over to pray over me and anoint my head with oil. And these things caused some very bad developments within my nature that I've had to since clean out and deal with. And I think I am in the process of recovering now, and it's not as, if we were going to compare, say, to Mrs. Hay or somebody like that, I haven't suffered anywhere near as much as a lot of people. I have been raised by a loving, supportive family, and I haven't been abused. Well, I shouldn't say I haven't been abused like nothing bad's ever happened to me. There has been some physical confrontations and stuff, and I've had to deal with anger too, but nothing like if we were comparing me to other people. I haven't suffered near as much as other people if we were doing a scale of comparison. But it's not in a comparison that we can find the measure of suffering for an individual. It's relative to each person. So the suffering that I went through was strong enough for me to hurt me and cause damage and give me areas that I needed to repair, and I since have. But in my later teenage years, I considered suicide, and I was going to kill myself. And I had since considered that a couple of times. And these are the things, this is the kind of, I was never happy, I was always depressed, I was isolated and alone, because we were homeschooled. I was taken out of public school at grade 6, so I went through high school and junior high and all of that. I went through that homeschooled. And I could argue that I got a better education as a result of that, but I would also say that it was not good because I did not gain the social experience that one needs to gain. You need to be able to gain confidence in approaching the opposite sex. You need to be able to develop social skills and friends. Gotta build a support network for yourself. And I wasn't able to do these things because of being homeschooled, and it also isolated me. And my brother was more outgoing than I was, so he was out meeting people around the neighborhood, and I was pretty much in my room just doing stuff on the computer. And that was the story of my life through the rest of my teenage years and well into my 20s. And that's basically the result of I mean, that's basically what Christianity has brought me. But within these last couple of years, I have been able to see past this and to move past this. And I didn't do it like through an act of will. It was more, I read a book, it opened my eyes to some things, I had an experience, I call the experience, I experienced ecstatic love. And then after that experience, I was also very lonely. I've been lonely most of my life. No, I don't think I'm lonely now, even though I am alone. I don't think I feel lonely now. That's been changed, but at this time I was still dealing with those feelings as well. And I created Tulpa. And I'm not going to go into the whole story about this, but I actually created a tulpa, and a tulpa, for those that don't know, is a thought form. It is an entity that is, in general, it is connected to you, usually through something that could be felt or perceived as an energetic link or a tube or a connection. In my case, it was a tube connected to my heart. And when I say see, I'm referring to when in meditative states, when you are in the inner landscape, being able to see or feel that. I could also feel it in my physical body too. And I could feel it in energy being drained from me, because tulpas require an immense amount of energy to be created, and they require an immense amount of energy to continue to exist and live. And this tulpa basically became my lover, that I thought that, I thought this was an alien being that had connected to me and chosen me and all of this, but in reality, as I'd done more research and read more and learned more, I discovered that what I had actually created through my loneliness, through an act of personal time, we'll just call it that, and a bunch of other factors coming off the end of this emotional high of this feeling of ecstatic love, this was enough energy that it allowed me to manifest and create this tulpa. So for 3 months, I was with this, well, I thought this was a female that was my wife. Even though I couldn't see, taste, touch, hear, or smell her, she was as real to me as somebody that you're married to would be real to you, because I could close my eyes and I could go to my place in my mind where we would see each other, and I could see her. I couldn't hear her talk to me or anything. I still don't understand all the vagaries of all of that, and it was sometimes hard to see things clearly. Other times things came in very clearly. But took a while, and then I figured out, that there was something here that I had to let go of, that this was not a healthy relationship for me. And I ended up ending it and letting it go and dissolving the connection between us. I'm hoping that I did not destroy this entity that I created. Hopefully that she has not turned bad and turned vampiric or anything like that. And as tulpas can do that if they need energy to survive, and if you cut off by cutting yourself off and dissolving the connection between you and them, if you do that, they might seek out energy in other ways. One video I found at YouTube seemed to say that eventually they learn how to get energy, without taking it from other beings, and then they're okay. But I did teach her, I was doing some Qigong at the time, and I did teach her some of those maneuvers and stuff, how to bring in energy, and hopefully she was able to use that. But This experience actually was good for me in one way, in that I gained some unique knowledge that I would not have had otherwise. I learned that literally your beliefs create reality, because I literally created a being with my beliefs. And I learned also that emotions are the power behind that. And that's how, when I say, when I tell you to create your life, create your reality, that's how I can say that with any kind of an authority, because not only have I read this and I've heard this and verified what I already learned and experienced, and gained more knowledge about this information. I know it firsthand. But it also showed me something else. And now I'm not trying to disparage Christians or anybody of the Christian belief systems by saying this, but I learned that it could be said, and it most likely is true, that the Christian God is a tulpa. That Jesus is a tulpa. He could very well be God's son, but he would be a tulpa. And the same for the Holy Spirit, same for Satan, same for heaven, same for hell, same for any religion, any God, anything that people have believed in, vast numbers of people over the years, and not only believed in, but shed blood for, and put emotion into. That is the recipe for creating a tulpa. A tulpa is created by beliefs, fueled by emotion, and the more emotion, the stronger the emotion, the stronger the beliefs, even to the point of sacrificing one's life, which outside of sexual release is probably the strongest form of energetic release, of giving out energy. Outside of that, I don't think there's anything stronger than those two, is sexual energy and the energy of one sacrificing life for something that they believe in. And this is the recipe then for making a tulpa come into our reality. Bigfoot is a tulpa, and aliens coming down to Earth, while they could be real, are more than likely tulpas also, because enough people have gone through experiences and felt it and want to believe that they're there, that they have created this reality. But I wonder if it goes even deeper than that. As I continue on my journey, I'm almost wondering if even our very idea of reality, what I call sense-determined reality, even our very idea of what is real around us, what we call real because we can see, taste, touch, hear, or smell it, if even that is a tulpa, in some sense or another, that we have created. But I don't know about that, and I'm not going to venture into those seas just yet. I just want you to be aware of that I created tulpa, and I know what it... I could tell you and give you instructions on how to do it, and I'm not going to do that, because this is something that I don't know is a wise thing for people to be messing with. But I have done it, and I know how it works, and it's allowed me to see my faith, which is my former faith, which is my parents' current faith. It's allowed me to see that in a new light. And it's reinforced things that I've already learned, and that I continue to learn and hear through teachers like Miss Hay and Greg Braden and Dwight. Can't remember his last name now all of a sudden. It just Wayne Dyer. I had the wrong first name there. So why am I telling you this? What is the whole point of this thing? It's to let you know that these things that you hear about, you are in control of your reality. You can change your reality simply by what you believe. Your beliefs create your reality. These things aren't fluff. They aren't fake. This isn't some Eastern mythological type stuff. It's not New Age. We knew this. as humans thousands of years ago, and the knowledge has been lost and lost and regained during that time. It's hidden in the Bible. If you really read the Bible thoroughly, you will find that it's in the Bible, and especially if you read Wayne Dyer, Wishes Fulfilled, you'll see he'll point it right out to you, the verses and stuff where it's hidden. He's a much better teacher than I am on this. But this is the truth. But here's the thing you have to understand. I can give you the keys to a car, but I can't make you drive it. You can take a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So I can give you this information, but you cannot change unless you are willing to change. You have to choose to change if you want to change. I'm not saying this as if it's an order. Change is always up to you, and it is your choice. And if you do not choose to change, you will not change, period. There is no way for you to change. You can only change if you choose to change. You cannot be forced to change. Change has to be a willing, active choice on your part in order for it to occur. Once you open your mind to that and make the decision that basically you have been insane all of your life up to now, doing the exact same things and expecting a different result, that is the definition, as I said, of insanity. When you realize that and wake up, you can take control and you can begin to change your life and to turn your life into what you want to be and to create the reality that you want. You have been blessed with gifts, talents, and abilities. You can deny it all you want and tell yourself that, like for instance, my grandmother last night, we were making cookies, and she was telling me that she's not an artist. And I wouldn't let her continue to talk like that. I confronted her on that gently, of course, and I said, Grandma, you can be an artist at any age. You can always change your life. There are 80, 90-year-old people out there jumping out of perfectly good aircraft right now. So you can do it too. And then I looked at her cookies a little later and I said, Grandma, this is really good. You did these stars very well. I like how you did that. You are an artist. I reinforced what I was trying to point out to her. And my grandmother is in her mid-80s now, 84. She was born in 1925. Is that 84 or 87? Mid to late 80s. And she is actually starting to change. She would rush around the kitchen to make her cookies and stuff. That's, I guess, how she displays that she loves and cares about us. So she makes cookies. That's her thing. But she didn't really enjoy it, and she rushed around and she was overcooking them, and they were coming out burnt, and we would still eat them and smile and tell her they were good. But I kept drilling into her, gently of course, Grandma, if you just take your time and be patient and enjoy what you're doing, they're going to come out better. You can do this. You can cook these things. You can do good cookies. Stop telling yourself that you're not a good cook, that you're not good at doing this. You can do it. All you have to do is take your time, be patient, and enjoy yourself. And I just keep drilling this into her and drilling this into her, and it's finally starting to sink in. But all I can do is give her the information. She has to choose to take that information and use it, and she is apparently absorbing and using that information, and it has resulted in a positive change for her. Now I want to tell you about the flip side of this. Another example, and this isn't from me personally, and this is a concrete, real example. I have been with my grandmother now here in her house since about 2008, I think. Late 2008, so it's been over 4 years now. And during those 4 years, especially after Granddad passed, Grandma's been saying that I can't eat this, I can't chew that, I don't get any good out of this. This has been a constant thing for her to say at the dinner table. Now, regardless of the fact that that's annoying to somebody trying to sit there and enjoy their food, it's doing damage to her. When she says that, guess what happened? She developed, as of last year, or was it the year before last? I think it was last year, last Christmas. We had to take her into the hospital because she had cancer, and guess where the cancer was located? In her colon. You can call that coincidence if you want to, but to me that's just more solid proof. She was investing, she was basically, what she was doing when she was eating her food, she was eating hatred. She was digesting and eating hatred. She was digesting and eating negative energy and negative thoughts and a negative mindset toward her food and putting that into her stomach. And you can't tell me and convince me that doing that to yourself is going to be healthy and going to not affect you in a negative way. I know better, and I saw it in my grandmother. She got the cancer and she had to have it taken out. But she still didn't break her habit on doing this, and I'm still working on her with this, trying to change her perception about her food and eating. We would like to get her some dentures. We haven't had enough money to be able to do that. She only has top teeth right now, top dentures, and she really needs to have a full set. So I'll put a request out there to the universe and anybody out there who wants to serve in this way and help. My grandmother really could use a full fitted professional set of dentures, or even better, dental implants, if she would be applicable for that kind of surgery. But that isn't what this video is about. I just thought I'd put that out there just so that the request is out there. Until we can do that, where it's going to be a little tougher for us to deal with her. But right now what we try and do is cook food so she can eat it, and we try to get meals that she can enjoy. But what I'm trying to say is the cancer came back and the tumor came back and she had to go back in. Now this is common, I know, with cancer. You usually, when you cut it out, there's sometimes parts that are left and it comes back. But they had cleaned it out and they said that it was clean in there, and we trust that those medical people to know what they're talking about, to have done their job. More than likely, because she was continuing with the same attitude about her food, she was continuing to digest that negativity, to just develop more cancer. And so this is another example that I want to present to you about this. Your thoughts create your reality. If you tell yourself that your job is crappy, that you hate your job, and I did this, I worked at United Natural Foods at a warehouse year or 2 or 3 back, where I was getting up and down off a double jack on a hard concrete floor, and I hated that job and I was miserable at that job. But I worked hard at it and I tried, but I did my best, but I was fired because I was too slow. But every day that job was less, it was just so hard to go to work because I just hated that job. And I told myself, I hate this job, I don't like this job. It's, and I'm a hard worker. I don't mind working hard, but working at a hard job like that, even with with long hours and stuff, it's just not enough compensation even with good pay. It's just too tiring, takes up too much of your day. It was certainly not for me. It just made the job worse. So when you do that to yourself, you just create a reality for that to be exactly that way. It's when you realize this, that your self-talk, the things that you're telling yourself, they are a reflection of your actual feelings, and your feelings are what create your reality. When you realize this, you can take control, and you can start by stopping your self-talk. So how do we do this? Well, if you, like me, are telling yourself something, like I did in the past, like I'm fat, I'm not desirable, no girl wants me because I'm fat, I'm getting too old to find a female. If I tell myself these negative things and I keep running these negative thoughts in my head, and I just keep doing this over and over and over again, I am manifesting this reality. These thoughts are a reflection of how I feel about myself. That I feel that I am fat, that I am not lovable, that no female would be attracted to me. These are a reflection of my feelings. This is the key. It is the feelings that is what is changing your reality. It's not your words, it's not your thoughts, it's your feelings. You can use your words and your thoughts and change those to change your feelings. But your feelings are what plug into and change your reality. So when I tell you that you can create your reality, it starts with you change your thought processes how you view yourself, what you say about yourself, what you say you can or can't do. You start doing things, saying things more with I am statements. Like instead of saying, I hate my job, tell yourself, I love my job. Instead of telling yourself, I hate myself, tell yourself that I am lovable. But use these positive statements. Start with this process, and this will change your mind. It's basically your mind is like running a recording, and what you're doing by changing your statements and your words is you're changing the recording, and then that changes the way your mind thinks. And this can actually be verified medically. You can get hooked up to machines that show how your brain is now doing differently, different there's different firings going on up there. I don't know all the details of this, but there's like different lights will show up or whatever than what you had before, because you have rewritten this code. So you start with your words, and then that changes your thoughts, and then that changes your feelings. But this is how you create your reality. Is I have so many thoughts here, and I'm trying to get them all out correctly. I'm going to change gears for a second to kind of put this into perspective. So I was talking about Christians before. One of the things Christians do, and those that go into faith healing and all of that also, is they pray for something. They ask God for something. There are two problems with this. Number one, they're asking a tulpa that is not really the originator and source and creator of the universe. He, she, or it might be for these people because that's their belief, but this is not really the entity in charge. And I admire whatever entity is in charge up there that actually is God to be so merciful and so loving and so flexible to allow us humans that he, she, or it spent so much time and energy to create and our world to create, and allowing us to create our own actual own gods that we worship and completely ignore him, her, or it, whatever this force is. I mean, that to me is God for sure right there. God isn't some petty, judgmental, angry person up there that acts like a human would act. God wouldn't act like a human. And that's one of the problems that I had with the whole Christian faith. But what I'm trying to say is, this is the first problem. When they pray for something, they're praying to a tulpa to grant them this wish. And the tulpa only has as much power as the collective beliefs have given this tulpa. Now, God in this case can actually heal because this tulpa is very powerful. So this God can heal. Jesus did heal the sick and stuff, and Christians believe this. So healing can occur with this. But one of the problems when you pray for something, though, that kind of interferes with the process is that you're approaching it from an angle as if you don't have it right now. When you allow any negativity in there and you pray for something and it's like you don't have it at this time, you don't have it right now, it's the same as saying I want. Asking for I want creates more want. It doesn't create what you want, it just creates more feelings of want. And praying for something you don't have causes interference because you're acting as if you don't have it already. And the way to create and change your reality is when you pray for something, you pray as if you already have it. You already have this thing. But it's more than that. You don't just pray as if you already have it. You feel like you would feel if you had it. You can tap into memories in the past that might tie in with it. For example, if you have cancer, what you would do is you would feel how you felt when you were younger and you didn't have cancer and your body was healthy. And if you don't know what a healthy, vibrant body feels like, maybe you've never had a body that has felt really healthy, then just imagine your body being light. Feel your body being light and feel your body being able to do anything you'd want to do with it. Within, of course, the physical limitations of the body. I mean, obviously people can't twist, well, I guess you could if you trained yourself, but you really probably don't want to sit there and try to imagine yourself turning yourself into a pretzel or something. I guess you could if you want to. Take it wherever you want to go. Just kind of be, you don't want to be, you want to make it as realistic enough that you can feel this and imagine how it is. Like if you've never had strength in your arms, feel how it would feel to have strength in your arms and be able to pick stuff up like a child that you care about or something like that. But you got to have this feeling, and you tie into that feeling, you pray as if you already have it, you believe as if you have it. And here is the key, as I presented in the Create Your Reality video. The key is, by doing that, you do have it. Now, you might argue with me and say, what are you talking about? I don't actually have that. No, you do have it. It's just you cannot interact with this reality yet. Because with the instant you have an idea or a thought or pray or create this feeling as if you already have it, it exists, but it's at a higher level or a higher state, and I call it also non-sense determined reality. It's in an area where you can't see, hear, taste, touch, or smell it. You cannot interact with it with your senses. You are now manifesting. You've created this reality you wish for yourself, and now you are manifesting this reality into sense-determined reality where you can see, hear, taste, touch, and smell it. I hope that's clear to you. What you're basically doing is you are creating the reality for yourself that you want instead of accepting the reality that other people have given you. Think about where your beliefs come from. Are they even yours? Did you even develop them? Where did they actually come from? And you know, why do you accept that the world that you can taste, touch, see, hear, and smell around you, why do you accept that that is the real world and the only world? And especially if you're a Christian, how can you do that? Obviously, if you're a Christian, you believe in this heaven place. And you have, collectively Christians have created these places in the afterlife, heaven and hell, where they're going to go, one or the other place, based on their beliefs, based on how they stack up in their beliefs, how well they have obeyed their Bible and done their thing. They're going to go to one of those two places. That's just the reality Christians have created for themselves. Well, if that's the truth, then you know that this world here that you experience in your physical body is not your home. You are constantly told this as a Christian, that this is not the real world. Your real world is in heaven, where you're going to go when you die. And you have these things that you must do and believe and accept to be able to go to that place. Well, then how come you're wandering around in the real world and telling yourself that this is reality, because it's not? Now, some people argue, we'll go on with science and we'll say that, you know, we've done all these measurements, we've used all these instruments, and this is how reality is determined, yada, yada, yada. Science is just another, in my mind, I call it a religion, but a lot of people don't like that. But in my mind it is, because it has fanatics just like religions do. It has people who believe in the process just like religions do. It has a God, scientific method just like religions do. You know, it's a way of reinforcing reality that's sense-determined reality. It's a way to reinforce sense-determined reality, but it doesn't allow people to take charge and to go out there and say, okay, you know what? Screw what science says. I can walk through walls and I can fly. If you really truly believe that you could do that, then you'd be able to do that, and the rules of science do not apply. The rules of science only apply and have validity because thousands of people have bled, suffered, died, and believed and invested energy into science being real and having validity. Understand that. Science is, as its tulpas, just like religion and everything else. It's been bled for and emotion's been put into it just like everything else. People have sacrificed their lives and their, you know, all kinds of stuff just to be able to get out there and to do what we call scientific improvement and advancement. And I'm not saying that science is a bad thing or Christianity is a bad thing. I'm not saying that. Christianity teaches us to be moral, to love each other, to treat each other as we would like to be treated. These are good things. And science brings us ways of interacting and working in sense-determined reality, advancements and stuff that help our health and do things that are good for us. So they both have advantages. I'm not saying they're bad just because they're belief systems and they have tulpas. I'm not saying that. I'm saying simply that that is not the end-all be-all of the world. The world is not what science calls it any more than it is what Christians call it, any more than it is what any other group calls it. And that's the point I'm trying to make here. And as we continue to grow and advance as a species, and we quote-unquote learn more about reality through science, we're going to find that there's going to be a lot more of things like what I'm telling you and other people have told you along similar lines are actually real and provable. That's just the way it's going to be. So, I don't remember what else I was going to talk about here, but I think I got pretty much everything out of there. You start with affirmations. Affirmations are ways of, when you catch yourself, well, actually, you start with observing what you are saying and thinking. You start with that. And when you catch yourself saying or thinking something that is not what you want for yourself, that is not necessarily true, that you cannot prove, substantiate, or support that statement, I am ugly. You tell yourself that. You can't prove, support, or substantiate that. You might look ugly to you, but somebody else might think you're absolutely gorgeous. And there's no way of getting around that fact. That's just the way it is. So that is an untrue statement. Every time you catch yourself saying statements like that, you stop, you be aware that you're saying that stuff, and you replace that with I am beautiful. If you say something like I hate myself, you stop. You realize that you said that, you acknowledge it. You don't hate yourself more because you said it. You don't get angry with yourself. This is just simply stopping and being aware of what you just said or thought that was not congruent with what you want for yourself. And you stop and you think, okay, I'm lovable. You start with that, with the affirmations. Then you start feeling it. What does it feel like to be lovable? You know, what can I do? And then you just imagine how it would feel to be loved. If you're a girl, you might have this romantic image of a guy who you want to be with, and how it would feel to be with this guy walking hand in hand on the beach or something of that nature. Yes, I am a romantic at heart, I admit it. So you start with the feelings is the next step after the affirmations. There might be an in-between here where you do statements of intent, like, today I intend that I am going to be loved. You might do that. You know, you might go from affirmations to intent, but at some point you need to go from there to feeling, how it feels to be loved. But you got to go further than that. The next step is, okay, you want to feel loved. Well, now you need to go around to people around you who also, believe it or not, probably want to feel loved as well, and start acting loving to them. And I'm not talking loving romance type. I'm talking smile at them, be nice, say something funny, support them. If you catch them saying something negative about themselves, gently correct them, point out something positive about them. Be loving towards them. Love them as a person. Even if you don't particularly want a relationship with them, love them as an entity, a beautiful entity, individual that is there, that you can, experience and interact with, and give love, basically, is what you're doing. You are giving love, and by giving love, guess what? Love starts coming to you. And this ties in with, I guess they call it frequencies. I don't know, law of attraction, that sort of thing. I don't know where my thoughts are on that. But it does seem to me that where you put your emotion, the more where you put your emotion into something, the more that something comes back to you. So if your emotions are put into giving love to other people, well, the more love is going to come back to you, and the world's going to be a more loving place. And this can be a day-night transition. The world could have been a hateful, ugly, awful place beforehand, and the instant you start giving out love to people and feeling as if you are loved, and creating this reality for yourself, even if your senses tell you that this isn't necessarily true, and you ignore your senses and you just continue with the feeling and handing it out, then love comes back to you. And you change your world, and your world becomes more loving, because the world is a reflection of your feelings of you, ultimately. And the same thing if you are lonely, then what you need to do is to tell yourself that you, what would be the best phraseology for that? That you are, well, I guess loved again. You are loved, you have friends, you are surrounded by friends, and feel as if how you would feel if you were surrounded by friends and had people to talk to and hang out with. And then the next step is to take action and to go out and start hanging out with people and making friends. It all has to be done in the order of changing your thoughts, using your words, and then changing your feelings using your thoughts. So you start with your words, which change your thoughts, which change your feelings. But then you have to be in movement and action, and I forget who I learned that from, but that's another important step. You got to be in movement and action. So it's not enough to just sit here on your recliner and feel these feelings. You've got to be out. You've got to be moving and walking around. You've got to take steps you got to take physical, actual steps. You've got to actually move your body and work in some capacity towards whatever it is that you're trying to manifest. And that is how that happens. It's not the work that brings this either. Don't get caught up in that. That, oh, well, it was just my work, and all this stuff is just fluff. It just was enough to get me out there to work at making friends, and now I have friends. But this is garbage, Don't say that. Don't do that, because the work would be pointless if you hadn't changed yourself. If you were your old self and you just did the work and you went out and met people, you would end up just like me. And I was here. I can say I have this 20 years of experience. I'm in the group and I'm alone. I'm always off to the side. I'm in the corner. I'm watching everybody else. I'm at the dance. I'm on the side. I'm watching everybody else. If I finally muster up enough courage, and I did this once, to go to the one girl who didn't have a partner and ask her to dance, and I hadn't changed yet, what'd she do? She laughs at me. And you wonder, okay, well, why would a guy like this, hearing me now, why would a guy like this want to commit suicide? Well, these are the kinds of things that I had to deal with when I was in my formative years as a teenager. And this happened because I had changed myself. The action is irrelevant without changing yourself. You have to begin to change yourself first. Because who you are now inside is the result of what you've been programming yourself to be so far. I wish you could see my hand gestures. I'm pointing on my hand over here. Got my hands going all over the place. But anyway, it's a result of who you have programmed yourself to be so far. And until this person changes, which is done simply by observing your thoughts and your words, changing your thoughts with your words, reprogramming yourself with your words, and then your thoughts will change, and then your feelings will change, and now you take action. And unless you do that first, the person who you are, as you program yourself to be so far, taking the action will do little if any good. Now, it could be that you could take action, and by taking action, actually change yourself. And it'll be a rough, bumpy road, but you could probably change yourself. I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm not negating that possibility. But more than likely, unless you've changed yourself, you're just going to revert back to who you are. Because remember, you are running instructions that you've been programming into yourself since you were a child, and have been programmed into you since you were a child. And you are running these instructions. And until you change those instructions, you're going to have a tendency to it's like being on a rubber band or on a really tight leash or something. You're going to go so far and then snap back to where you were. And the only way to deal with that is to change instructions, which is to remove the leash and the restrictions, and then And you do that by becoming aware of what you're saying to yourself, your negative things that you're saying to yourself, and your negative thoughts, and then changing these thoughts with positive statements about yourself, positive intentions, positive words, and then feeling whatever it is, the reality that you want to create for yourself, and then going out and bringing what you want to have to others. That is, I have to tell you folks, that is the most powerful way for you to completely and utterly change your life, is to go out, if there's anything you're lacking in your life, to go out and give it to others. I don't know if we can do this in all capacities, because if you're dead broke, how you're going to go out and give others wealth, I don't have any idea. But you can always go out and give others love. You can always go out and give others companionship, friendship, your time. You can do that. And that is the most powerful way that you have to change yourself, is by giving that gift out to others. And you will find, as you develop yourself in this capacity, that you're going to want to go out and serve and help others. You're going to feel kind of called or compelled to do so. And you need to answer that calling, because that's part of your growth and development. That's part of how you reinforce the new programming that you're giving yourself. Okay, I think I've probably rambled on long enough here. I hope that I have given you, I guess this would be like a more extensive set of instructions for creating your reality and explaining how and why this works. This video I will answer comments on, so if you have any, as far as in the form of questions or things that you might need to work out or talk about, so go ahead and comment if you would like to. You can also visit me at my forums, which is, there's a link there in my YouTube list of links. You can visit me at my forums and post there. I haven't really officially got the forums out and started yet. This is something I am still manifesting. Right now I am going through reprogramming myself. I went through the first stage of observing my thoughts, reprogramming my negative thoughts, thinking positively, stop thinking that I couldn't do something, start thinking that I could. And now I'm going in the whole feeling thing, but now I'm doing this again. It's going in another cycle, because now it's not so much of trying to ask for things that I want or do anything like that. Now it's I am this and I am that, and it's acknowledging anything that I tell myself or that I'm saying that's a reflection of my feelings that's limiting myself. So now I'm trying to go through and free myself from all my limitations, and that includes limiting beliefs. And oh boy, I got a whole bunch that I'm working on, but I am manifesting that freedom right now. So I have to talk funny now. Now I have to say things like, I am manifesting this, I am this, I am that. So I guess this goes through loops, but you know, a lot of things in life kind of go through loops and recycle. And I guess the Mandela here, like I have up, this is one that I found at Bing, the Color Wheel Mandela by a non-dual group somewhere. Everything kind of works in loops and ties together. So anyway, so now you know how to do that. So you can go to my forums, you can ask questions, and I will answer them. I will try to, no, I check my forums every night. And you can also go to my blog, although there's not much activity going there now because I'm kind of taking a holiday break. As I said, today is my birthday and Christmas is coming up. And now I am focused solely on creating a reality for myself of prosperity. Not just myself, my family as well, but creating a reality of prosperity and resources for us. So this is where I'm putting my energy. And that's another thing, too. We've got to make a choice. Where do you want to put your energy? I should close with that. Where do you want to put your energy? Do you want to continue to put your energy in doing the same thing, which is the definition of insanity, expecting a different result? That is the definition of insanity. Do you want to continue putting your energy into that? Do you want to continue putting your energy into the job you hate, the life you hate, the people you hate, you know, or anything at all that you hate or dislike or isn't, or just simply are not happy with? You don't have to hate, but I mean, like, if you're disliking it, if you're unhappy, do you want to continue putting energy in that? Or do you want to change yourself so that you can view these things around you differently, and then only after you've changed yourself and your perceptions, you don't want to move away yet, because You don't want to divorce your wife because you don't think you love her. You want to change yourself and your perceptions first, and then look at your wife with this fresh perspective. Look at these people around you, your job, and all of this stuff, and then look at that and see, okay, does this serve the reality that I want to create for myself? Look at it with fresh eyes, with no bias, with love, not hatred, and then make a decision that, okay, I need to move on from this, that, or the other. But you don't do that until you change yourself first so that you can see around you with new eyes. You have to change your perceptions first. I remember in the New Testament, I don't know about that Jesus said, if your eye offends you, pluck it out. Well, in this case, figuratively, pluck out your eyeballs, your current perceptions, the way you see things currently. Change yourself. Pluck out your eyeballs and put in a new set, and after you've changed yourself, and then look around you and see how things look, and then take the steps needed to create and manifest the reality that you want in your life. So I'll leave you with that thought. And do not pluck out your eyeballs literally, okay? That's just not cool, and I don't think that that's going to help you at all. So I would advise against that. Oh, and one last thing. This is a warning to Christians out there who want to do faith healing and stuff like that, who want to stay away from the medical profession. I am 37 years old, and they are eventually probably going to try to assign different medications to me for blood pressure, for this, that, and the other. That tendency could exist, but I will not take those pills and medications. But I can make this decision for myself because I'm 37 years old. I'm an adult and I don't have dependents at the moment. But the instant I have dependents and other people to take care of, I need to think about them. Okay? Understand that. So if you have children, you cannot just ignore their physical health needs, hoping that going and praying to your God is going to heal them. That's not a wise decision. They are dependent on you, and if you are a loving parent, that is not the way that you care for them. You are not dishonoring your God by going out and seeking medical advice. Think about this for a minute. If your God created everything, then he created people who would think about science and medical advancements and who would be working in those fields. He created doctors and people and surgeons and medical knowledge. He put that there for a reason. So go use it. Take your children to the doctor. Have them looked at. Don't jump on any pills or prescriptions that they put there. You can put your foot down and say, hey, I want to look at stuff that's a natural, non-invasive alternative. You don't have to go with one doctor. You can go to a couple of different doctors. You can find one that integrates modern medicine, naturopathic methodologies. And you can use information that I presented here. You can create a reality for your child that they are healed. And you can help your child create this reality for themselves. And you can even do this within the context of your faith. You can act as if your God has already healed your child, and you can teach your child to act as if their God, your God, unless the child is saved, then it's their God too. Try to remember that until the child has made the decision on their own what they're going to be doing with their faith, that it's your God right now and not theirs necessarily. But anyway, teach them that your God or their God, however it is applicable, has healed them. You see what I'm saying? And just apply the same steps. Feel as if they're healed. Have them feel as if they're healed and healthy. Believe that. Use the medical institution, Western medicine, that kind of thing. Use that as needed, where certain medications are needed or whatever. Use that along with this. But don't depend on that. Depend more on your faith, which is what you want to do originally anyhow, but use both. Use all the tools that your God has provided to you, and your child will be healed. And you won't have to go to court because your child died because you were an idiot. And my apologies to any loving parents out there who have suffered through this, because I know that you're in pain and you're suffering and you've lost your children and you love them. But my apologies to anyone out there who's gone through this but was an idiot and just did not do this properly. Praying for something will not manifest it. You have to actually act as if and feel as if it's already real. And you can do this with whatever faith in God you pray to. That's the coolest thing about this. You don't have to be like me and just say, okay, well, Christianity is too narrow viewpoint for me. I'm going away from that. I'm not doing the narrow road. I'm not doing the broad road. I'm just doing my own road. I have a machete in my hand. I'm blazing my own trail, and I'm completely freaking lost right now. But that's me. That's a choice that I made. You don't have to do that. You can stick with the path that you're on. There's nothing that says that you can't do that. And this is how you can properly pray. I am teaching you right now, whatever religion you are, how you can pray. And this is how you do it. You pray as if it's already happened. You tell your God, Lord, I know you've healed my child. Thank you that you've healed them. They are so happy and healthy right now. The sickness has completely left their body. Thank you. And then feel that. Believe that to be true. It's not a matter of your God granting you healing or not. Your God loves you, correct? So he's already healed your child even before you've even had a chance to pray and ask him, her, or it to heal your child. So there you go. That's how you do it. Okay? Remember that. And then make sure that you use all the things that are around you here in Sense Determined Reality, that you have all the tools at your disposal for the absolute best health and well-being and care of your child. I had another thought and I lost it a second ago. But anyway, hopefully I've left you with a lot of good stuff here to be able to use and think about. There was one more thing. What was I going to say? Oh, I wanted to end with an example. And this comes from Gregg Braden. And I can't remember the name of the video right now. If I can find the video, remember the name of it, I'll put a link in the description of this, because this video has gone on pretty long now. So, anyhow, he gives this example, and I love this example. It's from his own life. He lives out in, I guess he says, in the Mexican desert, and he has an Indian friend, and they were going through a drought. And there was no rain, obviously, because it's a drought. It's dry, and things aren't growing. And this Indian friend calls Mr. Braden up and says, hey, would you like to come with me? I'm going to go pray for rain. And, Mr. Braden, exploring this kind of thing in his life, there was no hesitation. He wanted to go. So they hiked, I guess he said 130,000 acres. I don't know. He went way out into the desert somewhere where there was a stone circle with his friend. His friend takes off his shoes and goes barefoot into the circle, and he just stands there for about 20 seconds or so, and he calls on his ancestors, thanks him, says something like, calls them and acknowledges they're here, or thanks them for being here. And then he steps out of the circle. Before he does that, he says, I'm hungry, let's go eat. And Greg's completely confused. He's like, well, I thought you were going to pray. I thought you were going to ask for rain. And his friend points out, if I asked for rain, it could never happen. And this is what I was telling you earlier. If you pray for something, you act as if it's not there. You are acknowledging and saying that it's not there. You are creating an intention, a mindset, you're basically programming the universe that this is not there. No, what he did was, and I don't remember how he put it a lot more eloquently, but he said, I just felt the feeling of rain on my skin. I felt the feeling of rain on the ground, in mud in my toes, and I felt how it would feel to have the corn grow really high because it rained so much, and the smell of the rain as it fell, and the sound of it on the roof. And that's all he did. And they leave. And the rain comes, and it actually floods the area. And there's so much rain it just floods the area, and I guess they get in touch with each other again, and Greg's like, well, I guess it worked, but what happened? There's so much rain, you guys are getting flooded out, and Indian's like, well, I never figured that part out yet. I love that story. And I know that this works this way because I have used this same methodology myself a number of times to create change and stuff that I wish to have in my life. You feel it as if it already exists. So I leave you with that thought and that picture. I'll try to put those links up in the description. Thank you for listening, and I hope that this video really opens your mind, opens your eyes, and helps you to manifest and create the change that you wish to have in your life. Thank you for watching. Namaste.